The ship moved through space like a silver needle passing through black cloth. Inside, Ho pressed his face against the window and watched the stars blur into long white lines. He had dreamed of this moment since he was a child. Humanity's first official journey to the Galactic Conclave. First contact had happened 3 years ago, and now Earth had finally built ships fast enough to join the rest of the galaxy. "Stop acting like a child," said from behind him. She was smiling, though. "You are supposed to be the serious scientist." Ho turned around and laughed. "We are about to meet species that are millions of years older than us. How can I be serious?" Was his closest friend and colleague. She studied alien languages, and the United Earth Space Council had sent her along because someone needed to translate. Ho was there because he understood stars and space better than anyone else on Earth. The ship slowed down. Through the window, Ho saw something that made his heart stop. A massive space station floated in the darkness. It was bigger than any city on Earth. Lights covered every surface, and thousands of ships moved around it like fish swimming around a coral reef. "Welcome to the Conclave Station," the pilot announced. When they landed, Admiral Sung Ho was waiting for them. He was the leader of Earth's first contact fleet, a tall man with gray hair and calm eyes. He had been living on the station for 6 months, preparing for this day. "Stay close," Sung Ho said quietly, "and try not to stare." They walked through wide hallways filled with aliens. Ho saw creatures with 6 legs and purple skin. He saw beings made of floating crystals. He saw something that looked like a walking tree with eyes on its branches. Every species moved with purpose, talking in languages that sounded like music or thunder or water. But Ho noticed something strange. When the aliens saw the human group, they moved away, not in anger, in something else, something that looked like fear. "Why are they avoiding us?" whispered. Sung Ho did not answer. The meeting hall was enormous. Representatives from over 200 species sat in a circle of floating platforms. In the center stood Elder, the leader of They were the oldest species in the galaxy. They had existed for 3 billion years. Their bodies were tall and thin, covered in pale blue skin that seemed to glow from inside. His eyes were completely black, like windows into empty space. When he spoke, his voice filled the room without any machine to make it louder. "We welcome humanity to the Galactic Conclave," said. "You have traveled far to join us." Ho felt proud, but then he noticed something. When said the word humanity, several delegates shifted in their seats. Some looked down. Others looked at each other with expressions Ho could not read. After the ceremony, Ho was allowed to visit the Great Archive. This was a library that held the history of every known species. He wanted to learn about Earth's place in the galaxy. He wanted to see how the star maps showed his home. But when he opened the maps, he found something wrong. Around Earth's solar system there was a red circle. Inside the circle there were no trade routes, no scientific stations, no visitor records. The label said only 2 words, "Forbidden Sector." Ho searched for more information. Every map was the same. For millions of years, no alien species had visited Earth's region of space. Not one. He found in the language section of the archive. She looked troubled. "I found something," she said. Her voice was shaking. "Every species has a warning about Earth, every single one." She showed him the text she had translated. The warnings were written in dozens of languages, but they all said the same thing. "Do not wake what sleeps beneath the blue world. Do not approach the prison of silence. The children of the 3rd planet must never know." "What does this mean?" Ho asked. "I do not know," replied. "But these warnings are old. Some of them are older than most species in this station." Ho went to Admiral Sung Ho with his discovery. Sung Ho listened carefully, his face becoming harder with each word. "I tried to access the historical archives about our region," Sung Ho said. They said it was restricted information. When I asked why, they said it was for our own protection." Protection from what? Sung Ho shook his head. They would not tell me. That night, Ho could not sleep. He walked through the quiet hallways of the station, thinking about what he had learned. The galaxy had avoided Earth for millions of years. Every species knew something about his home planet that humans did not know. He stopped at a window and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, his home, the blue world that apparently held some terrible secret. You are the human scientist. Ho turned quickly. A young stood in the shadows. She was shorter than with softer features. Her black eyes reflected the starlight. I am Ambassador, she said. I have been watching your people since you arrived. Why? Ho asked. Looked around to make sure they were alone. Then she stepped closer. My people have traveled the stars for 3 billion years, she said quietly. We have conquered galaxies. We have destroyed species that threatened us. We have never known fear. She paused, her hands were shaking. But we have never visited Earth, not once in 3 billion years. Do you know why? Ho shook his head, leaned close. Her voice was barely a whisper now. Because something lives there, something older than us, something that was ancient when my ancestors were still learning to make fire. They are not the oldest things in this universe, human. We only pretend to be. Ho felt cold. What is on Earth? Step back. Her eyes were full of something that might have been pity. Your kind does not know what you are guarding, she said, and I am not sure you should ever find out. Then she walked away into the darkness, leaving Ho alone with his questions and the endless, watching stars. Ho could not forget words. They burned in his mind like fire. For 3 days, he searched the archives for any information about what could be older than the. He found nothing. Every record about Earth's region had been deleted or locked away. On the 4th day, a message appeared on his personal device. It contained only coordinates and a time. There was no name, but Ho knew who had sent it. He found waiting in a small observation room at the edge of the station. She stood by the window, looking out at the darkness between stars. You came, she said without turning around. I need to know the truth, Ho replied. Was quiet for a long moment, then she began to speak. My people do not talk about the time before we were the oldest. It is forbidden. Even thinking about it is considered dangerous. She turned to face him. But I believe you deserve to know. Your species has been kept in darkness for too long. She touched a panel on the wall. The room went dark, and suddenly they were surrounded by stars. A holographic display filled the space around them. This was the galaxy 2.8 billion years ago, said. My ancestors had just learned to travel between stars. We thought we were special. We thought the universe belonged to us. The display showed young ships moving through space. They looked primitive compared to modern vessels, but their crews moved with the same confidence that Ho had seen in Elder. Then we found them, continued. Her voice became heavy. The hollow ones. The display changed. Ho saw something that made his blood turn cold. A dark shape moved through the stars. It was not a ship. It was not a creature. It was like a hole in reality itself. A piece of pure nothing that swallowed everything it touched. The hollow ones were beings of void, explained. They existed before the stars were born. They were ancient when the first light appeared in the universe, and they were hungry. The display showed the dark shapes attacking worlds. Entire planets disappeared into the void. Stars went dark. In weeks, half of the young civilization was gone. We tried to fight, said. We used every weapon we had. Nothing worked. How do you kill something that is made of emptiness? How do you wound something that has no body? Ho watched in horror as more systems fell to the darkness. Then something strange happened, continued. The hollow ones stopped attacking us. They stopped moving entirely. At first we thought they had left our galaxy. We were wrong. The display zoomed in on a small young star system. Ho recognized it immediately. The Sun, 8 planets. the third one blue and green. Earth, he whispered. It did not have that name then, said. It barely had life at all, just simple cells in warm oceans. But something about that planet, something about that tiny blue world, it trapped the hollow ones. Trapped them how? Shook her head. We do not know. We only know that the hollow ones went to Earth and never came out. They sank into the planet's core and fell silent. For 2.8 billion years they have slept there. Ho's mind was racing. So Earth is a prison. Yes, and your species. Paused, choosing her words carefully. Your species grew on top of that prison. Every human who has ever lived has walked on the ground above the most dangerous beings in the universe. Why did your people never tell us? Looked away. Because we were afraid. Afraid that if humans knew, they might try to dig. They might try to explore. They might wake what sleeps below. Ho thought about Earth. He thought about all the mines humanity had dug, all the deep wells, all the underground tunnels. A terrible thought entered his mind. There is something you need to know, he said slowly. Earth has started a new energy project. They are drilling into the planet's core, deeper than anyone has ever drilled before. His face went pale. How deep? Almost 2,900 kilometers. They broke through some kind of barrier last month. They thought it was just a new rock formation. For the first time, Ho saw real terror in his eyes. I must tell Elder, she said. This cannot wait. Wait, Ho grabbed her arm. If you tell, what will he do? Will he destroy Earth to keep the hollow ones trapped? Did not answer. That was answer enough. There must be another way, Ho said. Help me find it. You know more about the hollow ones than anyone else. Hesitated. Then she nodded slowly. There are old records, hidden files that thinks no one can access. They contain everything they learned about the hollow ones before they went silent. Can you get them? It will be dangerous. If discovers what I am doing, he will have me executed. Please, Ho said. Earth is my home. 7 billion people live there, children, families. They do not deserve to die because of something they do not know about. Looked at him for a long time. Then she turned back to the window. The old records are stored in the memory vault, she said quietly. I will get them tonight. Meet me at the same coordinates tomorrow. If I am not there, it means has found me. She walked to the door, then stopped. There is one more thing you should know, human. The warning text your friend found. Do not wake what sleeps beneath the blue world. Those were not written by they were written by the hollow ones themselves. A message left before they fell silent. Ho felt his skin crawl. The hollow ones left a warning. Why? His black eyes were filled with sadness. Perhaps because they knew that one day the children living above them would dig too deep. Perhaps they were trying to protect you, or perhaps it was a threat. She paused. The hollow ones were not mindless destroyers, Ho. They were intelligent, more intelligent than any species alive today. Whatever they are waiting for, whatever they are planning, it has been in motion for almost 3 billion years. She left without another word. That night Ho sent a message to Earth. He told them to stop the drilling immediately. The response came an hour later. The project was too important. The energy they would gain was too valuable. They would not stop for superstitions and alien fairy tales. Ho sat alone in his room, feeling helpless. He thought about the hollow ones sleeping beneath his home. He thought about 2.8 billion years of silence. He thought about the drilling machines cutting deeper and deeper into the prison walls. Somewhere beneath the blue world, something ancient was waiting, and humanity had just knocked on its door. On Earth, strange things began to happen. It started small. Dogs howled at nothing. Cats refused to enter certain rooms. Fish swam in circles until they died. People reported headaches that medicine could not cure. Children woke up screaming from nightmares they could not remember. In a small apartment in Seoul, a young pilot named woke up covered in sweat. She had seen something in her dreams, a city made of darkness, towers that reached up into a sky with no stars, voices that spoke in sounds that hurt her mind. She had been having these dreams for 2 weeks now. Every night they got worse. Was 26 years old. She flew supply ships between Earth and the Moon. She had always been different from other people. When she was a child, she knew things before they happened. She felt emotions that were not her own. Doctors called it sensitivity. Her grandmother called it a gift. Now her gift was showing her things she did not want to see. The dreams always ended the same way. She would be falling through endless darkness. Voices would whisper around her, and just before she woke up, a single sentence would burn into her mind. The children cannot hold us forever. Did not know what it meant, but every time she heard those words, she felt something ancient and hungry looking back at her. Meanwhile, Ho was racing back to Earth, had given him the old files before she disappeared. He did not know if she was alive or dead. He only knew that the information she had found was more terrifying than anything he could have imagined. The files showed that the Hollow Ones were not just beings of void. They were beings of thought, pure consciousness that existed before matter was born. They did not eat planets because they were hungry. They ate planets because they wanted to experience destruction. They consumed life because they were curious about death. And according to the files, the Hollow Ones had not been trapped by Earth. They had chosen to enter the planet. They had chosen to sleep. The files did not say why. When Ho landed on Earth, he went straight to the United Space Council headquarters. He demanded a meeting with the project leaders. He showed them everything he had learned. They did not believe him. You expect us to stop the most important energy project in human history because of alien ghost stories? The project director laughed. We broke through that barrier weeks ago. Nothing happened. Your aliens are just trying to scare us. Please, Ho begged. At least slow down. Let us study what is down there before we go deeper. The drilling continues tomorrow. This meeting is over. Ho left the building feeling sick. He called who was still at the conclave station. She had bad news. Elder Knowsabout said. Her voice was tight with fear. He knows she helped you. The conclave is having an emergency meeting. Ho, they are talking about quarantining Earth. Some are talking about destroying it entirely. They cannot do that. Billions of people live here. They are scared. I have never seen aliens this scared. Even the species that fought wars against each other are agreeing that Earth is too dangerous to leave alone. Ho hung up and stood in the street, surrounded by people who had no idea what was coming. Mothers pushing strollers, children playing games, workers heading home after long days. None of them knew that something beneath their feet was beginning to wake up. That night the first major sign appeared. Every bird on the eastern coast of Asia took flight at the same moment. Millions of birds rose into the sky at exactly 3:33 a.m. They flew in patterns that looked random at first, but when scientists looked at satellite images, they saw something that made them go silent. The birds were forming symbols, ancient symbols that had not been used for thousands of years. Symbols that appeared in Egyptian tombs and Mayan temples and caves in Africa where humans first learned to draw. No one could read the symbols, but everyone felt the same thing when they looked at them, a deep, cold fear that had no name. Saw the birds from her window. She knew what the symbols meant even though she had never seen them before. They were a warning, a countdown. She picked up her phone and searched for anyone who might understand what was happening. She found news articles about Ho and his warnings about Earth's core. She found his contact information through military records. You do not know me, she said when he answered, but I know what is happening. I can see it. I can hear them. Ho listened as described her dreams. His hands began to shake. Where are you? He asked. Seoul. Do not move, I am coming to you. He found her in a small coffee shop. She looked tired and afraid, but when their eyes met, Ho felt something strange, a sense of recognition, as if they had known each other for much longer than one phone call. Told him everything, the dreams, the voices, the city of darkness, the sentence that repeated over and over, "The children cannot hold us forever." "The hollow ones are talking to you," Ho said slowly. "But why you? Why not everyone?" "I do not know," replied, "but I think they have always been talking. Most people just cannot hear them. Whatever is different about me, it lets me hear what they are saying." Before Ho could respond, his phone rang. It was Admiral Sung Ho. "Get to the research center now," Sung Ho said. His voice was strange, flat, like he was in shock. "The drilling team found something. Ho, they pulled something up from the barrier, something that should not exist." Ho and drove through dark streets to reach the research center. Inside, scientists stood in a circle around a glass container. Their faces were white with fear. Inside the container was a fragment of something black. It was small, no bigger than a fist, but it was wrong. Light did not reflect off its surface. Light disappeared into it like water into sand. "We pulled it up 6 hours ago," one scientist whispered. "Since then, 3 researchers have quit. One is in the hospital. She keeps speaking in languages that do not exist, languages that hurt to hear." Ho approached the container. The black fragment seemed to pulse, as if it was breathing, as if it was alive. Gasped and grabbed his arm. "Do not touch it," she said. "They are inside it. They know we are here. They are watching us right now." Ho looked at the fragment. For one terrible moment, he felt something look back, something vast and ancient and patient, something that had been waiting for 3 billion years. And it was smiling. His phone buzzed, a message from at the Conclave station. "Emergency order passed. Earth is now under quarantine. No ships may leave or enter. The Conclave is preparing for the worst." He looked at the black fragment. He looked at the scientists who had finally stopped laughing at alien ghost stories. The awakening had begun, and humanity was running out of time. Something impossible happened on a Tuesday morning. A ship entered Earth's atmosphere. It was the first time in 3 billion years that any had visited the blue planet. The ship landed in front of the United Nations building in New York. Every camera on Earth pointed at it. Elder stepped out alone. He walked slowly, his tall body moving with ancient grace. His black eyes scanned the crowds of humans that had gathered to watch. Armed soldiers surrounded him but paid them no attention. He looked at the faces of ordinary people, mothers, workers, children. His expression was unreadable. Ho and Admiral Sung Ho met him inside the building, joined through a video connection from the quarantine border where her ship was stuck. The most powerful leaders of Earth sat around a long table, waiting to hear what the oldest being in the galaxy had to say. Stood at the head of the table. He did not sit. He did not speak for a long time. When he finally opened his mouth, his voice was heavy with age. "I came here to tell you the truth," he said. "The whole truth. It is the least I owe your species after what we have done." Sung Ho leaned forward. "What have you done?" Closed his eyes. "We created you." The room went silent. Ho felt the world shift beneath him. "Humans are not an accident of evolution," continued. 3 billion years ago, when the Hollow Ones entered Earth's core, my ancestors realized they could not escape. The prison was complete, but we knew that prisons need guards. We needed something that could keep the Hollow Ones asleep forever. He looked at the humans around the table. "So we designed you. We took the simple life that already existed on Earth and we changed it. We guided its evolution. We added something special, a frequency, a type of energy that exists in no other species in the universe." "What energy?" asked. Her voice was barely a whisper. "What you call willpower, spirit, soul, the fire that burns inside every human, that feeling that makes you fight when you should surrender, that makes you hope when there is no reason to hope, that makes you love so strongly that it hurts." His black eyes seemed to glow. That energy is toxic to the hollow ones. It is the opposite of everything they are. When humans feel strongly, when they hope and dream and rage against the darkness, they create a force that the hollow ones cannot survive. Ho stood up. You made us to be prison guards, without ever asking us, without ever telling us. Yes, said simply. Every human who has ever lived has been part of the seal. Your combined life force, your collective consciousness, creates a barrier that keeps the hollow ones trapped. As long as humanity exists, as long as humans feel and dream, the hollow ones cannot escape. But the seal is weakening, said. She understood now. That is what I have been sensing. That is why I can hear them. Nodded slowly. When humans stayed on Earth, the seal was perfect. 8 billion souls focused on one small planet, their energy concentrated and powerful. But now your species has spread to the stars. Millions of humans live on other worlds. The seal is spreading thin, weakening. Admiral Sung-ho slammed his fist on the table. So this is our fault. We weakened our own prison by exploring space, by trying to grow. It is not your fault, said. It is ours. We should have told you centuries ago. We were afraid. Afraid that if you knew the truth, you would reject your role, refuse to be guards, leave Earth and let the hollow ones escape. One of the world leaders stood up. Her face was red with anger. You created us as slaves, tools. We are not even a real species. We are just a weapon you designed. Turned to her. For the first time, something like sadness crossed his ancient face. You are much more than that, he said quietly. We gave you the spark, yes, but what you have become, your art, your music, your love, your courage, that was all you. In 3 billion years, we have never seen anything like humanity. You were supposed to be simple guards. Instead, you became something beautiful, something that even the envy. The room was quiet. Ho thought about everything he knew about human history, every war, every act of cruelty, but also every sunrise that someone had stopped to watch, every mother who had held her child, every person who had chosen kindness when it would have been easier to be cruel. What happens now? He asked. The seal is weakening, the hollow ones are waking up. How do we fix this? Looked at him with those endless black eyes. I do not know. In 3 billion years, this has never happened before. The hollow ones are stirring. They have sent their first message since they entered the prison. What message? Asked, though she already knew the answer. The children cannot hold us forever. Closed her eyes. The words she had heard in every nightmare now made terrible sense. There must be something we can do, said from the screen. Some way to strengthen the seal, some weapon against the hollow ones. There is no weapon, replied. We tried everything 3 billion years ago. Nothing can hurt beings of pure void. The only thing that has ever stopped them is the energy that humans create. That is why you exist. Sung-ho stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the sun was setting over the city. Orange light painted the buildings gold. People walked on the streets below, living their lives, unaware of the truth. So our choices are to stop exploring space and strengthen the seal, he said slowly, or keep expanding and risk letting the hollow ones escape. There may be a third option, said. All eyes turned to him. The old records speak of a ritual, something the discovered but never used, a way to enter the prison itself, to confront the hollow ones directly. What would happen if someone did that? Ho asked. We do not know. No one has ever tried. The hollow ones are beings of pure thought. Perhaps a human with their unique energy could communicate with them. Perhaps they could negotiate, or perhaps they would be consumed instantly. Paused. It would require someone with strong sensitivity, someone who can already hear the hollow ones. Everyone looked at. She stood very still. Her hands were shaking, but when she spoke, her voice was steady. If there is a chance to save Earth, to save everyone, then I will try. Ho grabbed her arm. No, you do not know what is down there. You could die. She looked at him and smiled. It was a sad smile, but also brave. Ho, my whole life I have heard things that others cannot hear. I always thought it was a curse. Now I understand. This is why I am the way I am. This is what I was born to do." Before anyone could argue, Sung Ho's phone rang. He answered it and his face went pale. "A crack has appeared in Earth's mantle," he said. "It is 300 kilometers long, and something is coming out of it, something made of darkness." The room erupted in chaos, but Ho kept his eyes on the window, on the sunset, on the last ordinary evening Earth might ever see. The Hollow Ones were waking up, and humanity had just learned that they were never just humans. They were guards, weapons, and perhaps the only hope the universe had left. The first star went dark on a Sunday. It was a yellow sun in a system called Velar, home to 2 billion beings of light and sound. One moment the star was shining. The next moment it was gone, not exploded, not collapsed, just empty, a black spot in the sky where warmth used to be. The 2 billion beings died in the cold within hours. 3 days later, 2 more stars went dark, systems closer to Earth. The darkness was spreading outward from the blue planet like ink in water. The Hollow Ones were not fully awake yet, but parts of them were reaching out, tasting the universe they had not touched in 3 billion years. The Galactic Conclave called an emergency meeting. Every species sent representatives. The debate was short and terrible. "Earth must be destroyed," said the representative of the Crystal Singers, a species made of living glass. "One planet for the entire galaxy. It is the only logical choice." "Agreed," said the voice of the deep swimmers, creatures who lived in gas giants. "We cannot allow a few billion humans to doom trillions of souls." Elder stood silent. He did not argue. He did not defend humanity. He simply watched as species after species voted to destroy Earth. The decision was unanimous. A fleet of warships from 40 different species began moving toward the quarantine zone. They carried weapons that could break a planet into dust. They would arrive in 18 hours. On Earth, panic had begun. The governments could not hide the truth any longer. The sky above the Pacific Ocean had turned black, not the black of night, a deeper black, a hungry black that ate the sunlight before it could reach the ground. People prayed in churches and temples and mosques. Parents held their children. Strangers hugged in the streets. Everyone could feel that the end was coming. Admiral Sung Ho gathered the military leaders of Earth in an underground bunker. "We have 18 hours, he said. His voice was calm even though his heart was not. "In 18 hours, the Conclave fleet will arrive. They will destroy our planet to stop the Hollow Ones from escaping." "Can we fight them?" a general asked. "No, their technology is millions of years beyond ours, but that is not why I called you here." Sung Ho looked at each face around the table. "I called you here to give you a choice." He pressed a button. A map appeared on the screen behind him. It showed ships, hundreds of human ships, transport vessels, colony ships, military ships. "We can run," Sung Ho said. "We have enough ships to evacuate maybe 50 million people. We can scatter across the galaxy, become refugees, let Earth burn and try to survive elsewhere." The room was silent. "Or," Sung Ho continued, "we can stay. We can fight not the Conclave fleet, the Hollow Ones themselves." "Fight them with what?" someone asked. "Said no weapon can hurt them." "Not weapons," said a new voice. Everyone turned. Ho walked into the room. He was 83 years old, a historian who had spent his entire life studying Earth's ancient past. He carried old books and tablets covered in ancient writing. "I have spent 50 years studying ancient human texts," Ho said. "After told us the truth, I went back to look at them again, and I found something." He spread the documents on the table. Ho recognized some of them: Egyptian hieroglyphics, Sumerian tablets, cave paintings from Africa. "These are not just stories," Ho explained. "They are instructions. 10,000 years ago, humans knew about the Hollow Ones. They knew about the prison, and they did something that does not know about." What did they do? Sung-ho asked. They went in. Ho pointed to a painting of human figures descending into the earth, surrounded by darkness. A group of humans entered the prison. They faced the hollow ones directly, and somehow they strengthened the seal, made it hold for another 10,000 years. How? Ho leaned forward. What did they do inside? That part is unclear, but there is one thing that all the texts agree on. Ho's old eyes were bright with something like hope. The humans who went in did not die. They came back out, and after they came out, they chose to forget. They erased their own memories to protect the secret. Sung-ho looked at the documents. You are saying that this is possible, that someone can go into the prison and come back alive. I am saying it has been done before. Across the city sat in a small park. The sky above her was still dark, but in this spot the sun was shining. Children played on swings. A dog chased a ball, normal life continuing even as the world ended. Ho found her there. He sat down beside her without speaking. I have decided, said, I will go into the prison. I know. Are you going to try to stop me? Ho looked at the children playing, at the dog, at all the small, beautiful things that made life worth living. No, he said, I am going with you. Turned to him in surprise. Ho, you cannot hear them like I can. You will be blind down there. Maybe, but you should not be alone. Whatever happens, whatever we find, you should not face it alone. Arrived that evening, she had found a way through the quarantine line. Her ship had been damaged, but she was alive. She brought something with her, a small device that had hidden in the archives before caught her. It is a map, explained. A map of the prison. Believed this might happen someday. She prepared for it. Ho took the device. On its screen was a complex pattern of tunnels and chambers, descending deep into Earth's core. At the center was a symbol that hurt to look at, the place where the Hollow One slept. I am coming too, said. You do not have to. Yes, I do, she looked at her friends. We started this together, we will finish it together. Admiral Sung-ho prepared a special vehicle, a drill ship designed to survive the heat and pressure of Earth's mantle. It was meant for exploration. Now it would carry 4 people into a prison older than life itself. The team assembled at midnight. Ho, who insisted on coming despite his age. Someone needs to read the ancient texts, the old man said. I did not spend 50 years studying them to sit in a bunker while you save the world. Above them, the conclave fleet entered orbit. Thousands of ships from dozens of species, their weapons pointed at Earth. They would wait 12 more hours before firing. One last chance for humanity to accept their fate. Sung-ho shook each of their hands. I do not know what you will find down there, he said. I do not know if you will come back, but I want you to know that whatever happens, you represent the best of humanity, the courage, the hope, the stubborn refusal to give up. He smiled. They created us to be guards, but we became something more. You are proof of that. Climbed into the drill ship, the others followed. The hatch closed behind them. Beginning descent, the computer announced. The ship began to sink into the earth. Through the windows, Ho watched rock and fire flow past. They descended through layers of stone that had formed over billions of years, through chambers of crystal and rivers of liquid metal, down toward the heart of the world, down toward the Hollow Ones. In orbit, Elder watched the tiny ship disappear into the planet. For the first time in 3 billion years, he felt something he had forgotten was possible. Hope. And deep below, in a prison of darkness and silence, something ancient felt the approaching humans. It had been waiting for this moment for a very long time. The children were finally coming home.